billion loss in the first quarter of 2020.
Company book.
Good afternoon, viewers in Indonesia and Singapore. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of informations from business, economic, and capital market sectors. With me, Clara Antawidjaja, and this is Market Headlines. And yes, viewers, we are going to start market headlines by looking at the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. So GCI opened at the level of 4,929.07, and then approaching the closing time of the first session, the index was on the level of 4,961.72. And then the index was showing strengthening trend by the second session's closing time. Index was closed at the level of 4,986.45. And in short, GCI was strengthening at 3.53%. And next we are going to see the sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading as the leader of the strengthening trend, we got finance that went up 4.96%. We got basic industry that went up 4.11%, and basic industry went up 3.77%, and infrastructure went up 3.64%. And as the top gainers in today's trading, here's the list of the stocks for you. We got BBRI with a value that went up 7.93%. We got BBNI with a value that went up 9.76%. We got PGAS with a value that went up 12.56%. And BMRI with a value that went up 6.46%. Meantime, for the top losers for today's trading, here's the list of the stock for you. We got SAMA with a value that went down 3.23%. We got CSRA with a value that went down 3.39%. And we got DMMX with a value that went down 2.68%. And we got Silo that went down 3.7%. And next, we're going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollars. So rupiah opened at the level of 14,155. Rupiah was also showing strengthening trend towards US dollar. I was closed at the level of 14,050. In summary, rupiah was strengthening at 0.7%. Retailer company Matahari Department Store announced the reopening of outlets in the Greater Jakarta area. The company's management stated that reopening of the outlets has begun gradually.
Retailer company Matahari Department Store announced the reopening of outlets in the Greater Jakarta area. CEO of Matahari Department Store, Terry O'Connor, said that the reopening of the outlets has begun gradually, with the reopening of 24 outlets in early May and reaching 95 outlets in each season. He explained that reopening on June 15 and 16 will reach 141 outlets from a total of 153 outlets. Presently, the company is gradually prioritizing to help the supply chain. It aims to increase the supply of local products that cannot be obtained during periods of social restrictions. Meanwhile, related to the company's performance, the management projects a decline in consolidated net profit for the first quarter of 2020 to reach more than 75% compared to the same period last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. From all sources, IDX Channel.
To face the new normal era, Bank Tabungan Negara is continuously strengthening the digital service by accelerating its 2020 capital expenditure absorptions.
Bank Tabungan Negara is continuously strengthening digital solutions to face the new normal era. It is in line with the most of companies' capital expenditure in 2020, which is allocated for IT or digital development. Director of Operations, IT, and Digital Banking of Bank Tabungan Negara, Andini Wodo, stated that by May 2020, the capital expenditure absorptions for digital development has just reached 30%. But he estimates that capital expenditure absorptions will be accelerated in the beginning of the second semester. Meanwhile, due to company's plan on digital development, the director confirmed that in 2020, the company will present the new digital service to provide easiness for customers in banking transactions. From all sources, for IDX Channel.
Stay tuned to market headlines because we will be right back after the break.
Sekarang atau tidak usah sama sekali. Awalnya, saya sangat tidak tertarik dengan saham. Yang membuat saya tertarik, yaitu saat saya mulai merasakan profit dari investasi. Akan tetapi, yang paling penting, saat saya mengerti dan saya memiliki harapan akan masa depan yang baik dari berinvestasi. Investasi adalah bagaimana kita bisa menunda kesenangan saat ini untuk kesenangan jangka panjang. Terlalu banyak generasi muda yang selalu menunda-nunda untuk berinvestasi dengan berbagai macam alasan. Langkah awal yang harus Anda lakukan adalah membuka rekening sekuritas. Dan hanya dengan 100.000, Anda sudah bisa mulai berinvestasi di pasar modal. Jangan tunda-tunda lagi, karena masa depan yang indah sudah menanti Anda di depan mata. Jangan menunggu untuk berinvestasi, akan tetapi berinvestasilah, kemudian Anda menunggu hasilnya.
Konsep kita itu green and resort dalam setiap proyek yang kita usung. Tahap pertama yang kita buka 155 unit itu sold out.
Ya, saya rasa tahun lalu dan tahun ini memang konsolidasi. Kita optimis untuk mencapai target 6,2 T ya.
Saya yakin bahwa properti akan balik normal lagi ya 2020 sampai seterusnya.
Welcome back. Finance Minister Sri Mulyani reveals that the budget for National Economic Recovery Program rised to 686 trillion rupiah. The budget jumped 4 times than the initial budget at 150 trillion rupiah.
In virtual coordination meeting, Finance Minister Sri Mulyani reveals the new amount of National Economy Recovery Budget. She stated that the budget rise again to 686 trillion rupiah from the previous budget allocation in early June at 677.2 trillion rupiah. Sri Mulyani explained that budget for healthcare sector hiked to 87.5 trillion rupiah from previous allocation at 75 trillion rupiah. Other than that, she also said that there are some tax incentives in healthcare sector which are related to the emergency measures. Not only for healthcare, the government also allocates the budget for social allowance, which is currently targeted to reach 29 up to 30 million people. And in the same time, the government ensures to provide incentives for business, including for SMEs. From all sources, IDX Channel.
To protect, maintain, and improve the economic capacity of business, both for real and financial during COVID-19 pandemic, Indonesia's government has issued regulations number 23 in 2020 on National Economic Recovery Program. A number of ways have been prepared by the government in the regulations. To get a clearer information about this recovery program, let's check the series of these graphics. Here it is. We can see the methods of the Economic Recovery Program. That is divided into 4th program. First of all, the state capital participations. And the second one is that the government's investment. And the third one, which is the method, is by placement of funds. And the last one is the government's guarantee. And as one of the regulated methods, the government is allowed to conduct state capital participations for SOEs affected by COVID-19 pandemic. The state capital is given because there are a number of SOEs experiencing financial difficulties, especially SOEs that affect the lives of many people and have a systemic impact on the financial sector. The government stated that priority sectors for state capital participations are food, transportation, financial, manufacturing, tourism, and also energy. And previously, the government has revealed a number of SOEs that would receive state capital participations in the recovery program. They are PLN with a nominal of 5 trillion rupiah. We got Hutama Karya with a value of 11 trillion rupiah. BPUI with a value of 6.27 trillion rupiah. And don't forget about PNM with a value of 2.5 trillion rupiah and 500 billion rupiah for ITDC. So how much funds has been allocated by government to a recover program? So let's move to the next graphic. Through the next graphic, we can see the budgets of Indonesia's government that has prepared for the economic recovery program budget. First of all, the first phase goes to April 2020. Within the budget, only 150 trillion rupiah. And moving on to the second changes in May 2020, the number goes double by 318.09 trillion rupiah. And there was a third changes in June 2020 to be 669.7 trillion rupiah. And then the fourth change that happened on August 2020, it went to be 677.2 trillion rupiah. And this is the fifth changes in June 2020, which is the lastest, by 686 trillion rupiah. Due to a super large amount of program budget, President Joko Widodo called on various parties to oversee the use of the National Economic Recovery Budget, including Indonesia's Audit Board and the Corruptions Eradications Commission. Jokowi emphasized that the effort to prevent misuse of the budget must be put forward, and various potential problems related to the budget use need to be constantly reminded. Furthermore, Jokowi requested an early warning system for the process of using budget for handling corona and also national economic recovery. He also wants the governments of the use of corona handling budget and national economic recovery to run well, and its distributions is on the target. So with a fantastic amount of fund, how is actually the distributions of these funds? So let's see it to the next graphic. We can see how the government distributed the funds. So here it is, Economic Recovery Program budget allocations. First of all, it's for the SME by allocating 123.4 trillion rupiah. And the second one goes for the corporate financing by providing 44.57 trillion rupiah. And then we got healthcare that government has allocated for 87.55 trillion rupiah. And also social protections for 203.9 trillion rupiah. Not to mention about the incentives that given by the government by 120.6 trillion rupiah. And also the ministries and regional government by 106.11 trillion rupiah. In a virtual coordinations meeting, Finance Minister Sri Mulyani reveals that the rise in national economy recovery budget. The minister admit that one of the high contributor is the healthcare sector allocations that rise to 87.5 trillion rupiah from the previous budget at 75 trillion rupiah. She also said that there are some tax incentives in healthcare sectors which are related to the emergency conditions. Not only healthcare, the other high contributor came from the budget for social allowance, which is currently targeted to reach up 29 up to 30 million people. In the same time, the government also added budget for corporate financing and assistance to the ministries or institutions in the local governments. With the allocations that had been set, how actually the implementations will be carried out by government. In the next graphic, we will show you the examples of the program implementations. Here it is, the supply side in economic recovery program. First of all, we can say there will be credit interest subsidies for SMEs, as government is putting more effort to the SMEs nowadays. And then the second one is that funds placement in anchor banks. And the third one is that government is working on the working capital guarantee for SMEs and non-SMEs, and not to mention about tax incentives. As revealed by the head of Fiscal Policy Office, the national economic recovery costs are divided into two, namely demand or expenditure in the community and the supply side to help the business sector. On the supply side, one of the allocations is for placement of funds for restructuring of SMEs and labor intensive amounting to 82.2 trillion rupiah. The regulations number 23 in 2020 stated that the government can place a number of funds in anchor banks as well. The funds will be supporting the liquidity for credit or financing restructuring and or provide additional credit or working capital financing to micro, small, medium enterprises and cooperatives. Meanwhile, funding is sourced from a state budget, which originates from the issuance of government securities or bond purchased by Bank of Indonesia on the primary market. As the post-pandemic economic recovery program is carried out, how significant is the effect of the pandemic on Indonesia's economic growth? Some institutions have issued their projections, so let's check it out. We got three indicators as the institutions. First of all, from World Bank. World Bank indicates that in 2020, Indonesia's economic growth will reach only 0%. Or remain stagnant. And then in 2020, it would recover by 4.8%, while the other institutions, so-called IMF, projects that Indonesia's economic growth in 2020 will only reach 0.5%, slightly different from World Bank. But however, in 2020, IMF has the projections on economic growth by 8.2%, quite optimistic. And meanwhile, OECD projected that Indonesia's economic growth in 2020 will reach the minus 2.8 into minus 3.9% only, while in 2021 the number goes up to 2.6 to 5.2%. In the Global Economic Prospects Reports June 2020 editions, the World Bank predicts that the Indonesian's economy in 2020 will not experience growth, or in the other word, it's 0% due to the impact of coronavirus pandemic. This predictions is falling from the realizations of Indonesia's economic growth in 2019 at 5.02%. But however, World Bank predicts Indonesia's gross domestic product or GDP to climb to the level of 4.8% in 2021. The World Bank explained that the slowdown in economic growth occurred because of the regional quarantine policy or lockdown to prevent massive spread of the coronavirus. The lockdown, which was first carried out by China and spread to various countries, caused sharp contractions in the economic activity and drastically changed global markets, including Indonesia, which is still quite dependent on the commodity exports. Previously, Finance Minister, along with the Bank of Indonesia, the Financial Services Authority, and Indonesia Deposit Insurance Corporations estimated that Indonesia's economic growth would only grow 2.3%, or even the worst case scenario, it would hit minus 0.4%. So we hope that all aspects of the recovery program's objective will be achieved and deliver a very positive impacts to the national economy. And stay tuned to market headlines because we will be right back after the break.
Saat ini lebih mudah untuk mendapatkan informasi mengenai perkembangan ekonomi dan bisnis di Indonesia dengan aplikasi IDX Channel. Mulai dari berita, makro dan mikroekonomi, politik hingga hiburan. Anda juga dapat berbagi artikel, foto, dan video ke semua platform media sosial yang Anda miliki. Beragam informasi hari ini bisa di-download di dalam aplikasi idxchannel.com.
IDX Channel, Your Trustworthy Economic, Business, and Capital Market Channel.
Sekarang atau tidak usah sama sekali. Awalnya, saya sangat tidak tertarik dengan saham. Yang membuat saya tertarik, yaitu saat saya mulai merasakan profit dari investasi. Akan tetapi yang paling penting, saat saya mengerti dan saya memiliki harapan akan masa depan yang baik dari berinvestasi. Investasi adalah bagaimana kita bisa menunda kesenangan saat ini untuk kesenangan jangka panjang. Terlalu banyak generasi muda yang selalu menunda-nunda untuk berinvestasi dengan berbagai macam alasan. Langkah awal yang harus Anda lakukan adalah membuka rekening sekuritas. Dan hanya dengan 100.000 Anda sudah bisa mulai berinvestasi di pasar modal. Jangan tunda-tunda lagi, karena masa depan yang indah sudah menanti Anda di depan mata. Jangan menunggu untuk berinvestasi, akan tetapi berinvestasilah kemudian Anda menunggu hasilnya.
Welcome back. State-owned electricity company, or PLN, recorded 38 trillion loss in the first quarter of 2020. Economists hope that PLN won't burden citizens to cover loss, but rather to demand government to subsidize PLN.
Financial statements of state-owned electricity company PLN in the first quarter of 2020 showed a loss amounting to 38.87 trillion rupiah. The number moved backward as March 2019 company booked net profit of 4.14 trillion. Loss also happened due to increasing expenses. Company's total operating expenses in the first quarter of 2020 reached 78.79 trillion. The number went up 7% from the same period of last year, that was 73.63 trillion rupiah. In response to such loss, economist of CORE, Peter Abdullah, stated that PLN shouldn't burden the loss to its subscribers. The loss must be state's responsibility by providing subsidies so that PLN can still supply the electricity. According to him, public should not be charged with increase in electricity tariff.
Menurut saya, kalaupun nanti kerugian dari PLN itu membesar, ya berarti ya harapan kita itu tidak dibebankan kepada masyarakat dengan menaikkan tarif, tetapi itulah yang menjadi tanggungan dari pemerintah, khususnya di dalam konteks saat ini pada waktu kita menghadapi wabah COVID.
Peter also reminds, in these conditions, the government should no longer think about profit and loss in subsidizing the country's economy, especially for the company that is related to public necessities such as PLN. Jakarta, Rizkayu for IDX Channel.
Indonesia Investment Coordinating Board, or BKPM, revised its investment target in 2020 to only 817 trillion rupiah. The revisions reconsiders the impact of the coronavirus pandemic.
Indonesia Investment Coordinating Board, or BKPM, is certain to revise 2020 investment target to 856 trillion rupiah and even continue to lower the target to 817 trillion rupiah until the end of July. Chief of BKPM Bahlil Lahadalia said that the target revision was carried out by considering the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Although the COVID-19 pandemic is still prolonged, until now the Investment Coordinating Board continues to pursue investment targets as much as possible to boost the economy by opening up new employment opportunities with 4 strategies, starting from providing facilities for existing companies to continue operating during the pandemic, bringing in new investments, providing incentives for companies who want to expand the business to facilitate existing companies that are not yet producing, including stock investment of 708 trillion rupiah. So far, BKPM has completed 58% of stock investments, or H+A's 409 trillion rupiah. Meantime, by the first quarter of 2020, BKPM recorded investment realization of 210.7 trillion rupiah, or up by 8% over the same period last year. This realization amounted to 23% of the investment target in 2020 of 886 trillion rupiah before changing investment targets due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Jakarta, Ade Firmansyah, IDX Channel.
Even in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic, processing food posted a good performance as export went up 7.9% from January to April 2020.
Indonesia's food processing export increased in January to April period. Even in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic, export went up 7.9% or 1.32 trillion US dollar. Spokespersons of Indonesia's Food and Beverages Associations, or so-called GAFMI, Rahmat Hidayat, stated that food and beverages doesn't find any difficulties during pandemic. However, import duty to export food and beverages products to export destinations countries is often also an obstacle. For that, Rahmat remanded government to facilitate food and beverage industry to get raw materials. He also urged government to make a trade agreements with the new export destinations countries so the amount of import duty to certain countries is no longer obstacle.
Selama ini pelaku usaha industri makanan dan minuman tidak mengalami hambatan yang berarti ya terkait untuk melakukan ekspor produknya ke mancanegara. Yang terkait dengan hal ini paling adalah ketersediaan bahan baku kita. Karena produk makanan dan minuman itu kan masih menggunakan sebagian produk bahan baku yang harus diimpor. Jadi itu satu hal yang jadi hal yang penting juga ya untuk faktor kemampuan ekspor kita.
Rahmat also demanded government to give fiscal and non-fiscal stimulus to food and beverages business sectors that are impacted by COVID-19 and need recovery as soon as possible. From Jakarta, Rinka for IDX Channel.
To revive the enthusiasm of small medium enterprises in tourism and economic creative sector, Minister for Maritime and Investment Affairs Luhut Binsar Panjaitan has pledged to boost tourist arrivals.
To help drive the wheels of national economy through tourism and economic creative sector, Minister for Maritime and Investment Affairs demanded increase of domestic tourist arrivals. The number went up to be 70% from previously 55%. Therefore, to put the target into reality, Minister launched 4 programs for domestic tourists. Those are city activations, staycations, road trip, and Epic South. These aim to boost domestic tourism in an attempt to replace the international visitors to Indonesia that had lost. Not only to encourage domestic travel and an effort to attract the draft market, Minister also wanted to boost foreign tourist arrivals, specifically by prioritizing Class A and B foreign tourist arrivals.
Penerimaan negara dari wisatawan domestik yang semula tadinya 55% menjadi 70%, serta mendorong kedatangan wisatawan asing kelas A dan B. Kita tidak mau lagi turis-turis, bukan tidak mau lah, mengurangi turis-turis yang kelas C. Karena sekarang dari hasil survei, trennya itu lebih banyak turis-turis yang berada yang akan datang.
Even though it's still in the COVID-19 pandemic, the tourism sector is an important part that cannot be tolerated. Moreover, last year, foreign exchange realizations from this sector has reached 280 trillion rupiah with its contribution to GDP of 5.5%. From Jakarta, Muhammad Olga for IDX Channel.
Here it is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the graphic close of market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, Your Trustworthy Economic, Business and Capital Market Channel. I'm Clara Antawidjaja. Have a nice evening and stay safe.